Hello tutors, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. I'm going to be showing you 4 painted United States Marine Corps figures for the Battle of Hue in 1968. I just want to show you some of the books I've got. They're not all by a long chalk. These are ones I just happened to have literally bought in the last, I don't know, couple of 3 weeks. They're all, I would call, cheapies from eBay, either used or whatever, but I don't think any of them have cost me more than about £4, including the postage. This is a really good one. I'm reading. You can see I've still got the bookmark, so I'm not finished it yet. But this is from Mark Bowden, by the way, or Bowden, whichever it's pronounced. It covers obviously Marine Corps, but Air Cav as well. And it also covers obviously MVA, VC. More or less covers. The author links up different things. I don't know if they're interviews he's given, he's gone out and got himself, or if he's taken them from other sources. But there's sections from like Golf and Hotel Company, Fox Company, obviously MVA side of things, and for someone like myself, there's lots of useful little nuggets, not only the human side of it, but also one of the MVA guys had said they'd been given, they'd gone down the Ho Chi Minh Trail in the usual black pyjamas, but they'd been given brand new uniforms for the assault on Hue, including boots, many of them, because they'd obviously come down in the Ho Chi Minh sandals, which are like the rubber tyres sandals, but they've been given fresh boots for the attack on Hue. Now that's just one guy, it's not saying that every unit had the same thing, but I found that interesting. Also the use of the Army's M40 Duster, which obviously was prevalent in Vietnam, and I did know they were using Hue because obviously I've seen photographs of them, but I also didn't realise there weren't as many Marine tanks in Hue as I thought, which surprised me, and that the crews were taking so many casualties. They were like their I'm going to say infantry equivalents. I know that I don't know what Marines would, if it's Marine infantry or not, but I should know of the amount of stuff I read. But the foot sloggers anyway. They obviously taking huge casualties. Like squads were going down to 2 men. I was just reading in one of the chapters last night how the squad leader had gone down to, there was him and another bloke, and they'd got a new guy. Literally had got straight off the plane, been sent straight to Hue, and unfortunately was shot in the head. And although they managed to keep him alive, Corpsman managed to keep him alive, he passed away on the operating table, it was said. So another name on the wall. The tank crews were constantly having to literally, guys getting wounded and replacements sent up. So this is a really good book. It also interviews journalists and what the journalists were interviewing people. I think it's a fair book that I've read so far. I'd give this a 10 out of 10 personally. Now these other books I haven't read. I have got other books in my collection. Vietnam in general, obviously Army units and Brown Water Navy, Air Force. But I was trying to find books specifically on Hue, as I say, it's a thing that I'm particularly interested in. I haven't read this one yet. This was from, I believe, the 1990s, from Eric Hamill, Fire in the Streets, the Battle of Hue, Tech 1968. I've got a Patton tank here. But there was so many constraints on using the tanks, whether they had 2 tanks and 2 Zippo tanks, I believe. I'm not sure if any more were actually there. The way I've been reading it in that book, maybe there are, but there seems to be only, I can't remember if it's 4 or 6. One Zippo was knocked out. There was big constraints on using their main armament, and the Zippos actually then went, after they'd flamed a couple of places that they hadn't been given orders to, they literally emptied the tanks, and they were just used as machine gun pillboxes really, and to cover the infantry. So yeah, looking forward to that one. This one's been, I was a bit annoyed. It's the only one that I've had from World of Books that I'd say didn't meet what they said it was. And that is been fairly knocked about. But it's not typical of what I've had off them. And the Mark Bowden book that you've just seen, that is in perfect condition. And I think I got that from World of Books. But that one, yeah, that was, they said that was in decent condition, and it wasn't. This one's from a private seller. I've read a good few things on Westmoreland in the Vietnam War, but I've never actually got a book on him. Now, the general who lost Vietnam, you can more or less say where Lewis Sawley's coming from with this one. I have got my own opinions, but I'll keep them to myself for now. This one was a bit damaged, but the seller had said it was, so I've got no problem with that. But I'll be looking forward to reading that at some point. So I just thought I'd show, I've got some others. I don't think I've got, I might have one more if oh, here it is, yeah. I've got several of these back in the 90s. You can see how old this one is, probably a 90s one. And they were from different aspects of it. I've got artillery, some brown water navy, a brown water navy one. I wasn't expecting a great deal from this. I was hoping more for just general colour photos, uniform ideas and stuff. You don't really get that. It's almost all in black and white, which some of my other books from this series I've got are. So, you know, I wasn't expecting a great deal, but I think it was about £3.50 with the postage. So I got that at the time, you know, over the last couple of weeks. But it's more of the Marine Corps, air, land, whatever, you know, in Vietnam. There's not any particular specifics. So I've got some other ones as well. I've got a fair few actually, as in just different ones on, you know, different units in Vietnam and different remembrances, but not to hand. I just thought I'd throw them in there as we'll. Oh yeah, we might need to go down a bit. I'm using the overhead tripod because that's stupid. Do not get this one if you see it for like £4 like I did. No, don't get it. Blooming useless. So we're going with the big lad today. Now these, I was trying some water. I've got like one of these water effects from Vallejo that you have to put it in several layers, but I just wanted like a puddle look because it did tip down a rain on several occasions. It was very cold at night. Most of the Marines that went there first had been told to leave their packs behind, and they literally turned up in what they were wearing. They were literally wrapping themselves in curtains at night and stuff from the buildings to try and, you know, keep warm. I've put him on a, what's that base? Not oval, lozenge, I don't know, almost square. Just because they're the ones I'd got in stock, and these are for me. So, and as usual, I've painted two black. They're actually spent cartridges there, and I've for some reason not put any brass on them. So I should be doing that before I varnish them. So I put that on just to see what it looked like, but it's going to be varnished over, and I will put it back on once it's varnished, because obviously it's going to have a matte coat. The figures have been matted already, but the bases haven't. So yeah, I did a curbstone. Curbs, we were always taught, even a curbstone can give you some cover. You could say, well, Gav, why didn't you do it round the other way? Basically because I added the curbstone on afterwards, not thinking. So, but he could be shooting around, he could have just hit the dirt, he could be shooting around a vehicle. Obviously I can't cram all that on a base. I didn't want to go over the top on this one. You know, I wanted it to be like these different roads were, I don't know if they were tarmac underneath and they just got sludged up, but I doubt they were. On some of these backstreet ones it tends to be just hardened earth by the look of it I've seen on photographs. Put a few spare cans around, some military ones in green, and there's a couple of civvy ones. If you want to make an easy type effect for corrugated iron, it's not the best, but that's a bit of pie tin. And what I do is, if you've got these scalpels, all right, then use the other one. So this one is this one isn't a Swan Morton one; it's a Sergi class one. but it's again thinking outside the box. I was looking at that one day and I'm thinking, you know what, if I press tin foil over that, I'll get at this scale I'll get a basic corrugated iron. It's not perfect, you know, but it's for this it does the job. You can see it's meant to be corrugated iron. So that's that one. We've got our blooper grenadier here. Again, because I've black base painted the foam, this is blue foam, and I just carve out some bricks and stuff. Now, because this is insulation on this particular one, my other ones are flat, but the smallest one which I've got is this. It's corrugated on the other side, so I just thought, again, it's corrugated metal sheet, so I painted it metallic, whether it's reinforcing, you know, whatever, I have no idea, but it was better to do it that than nothing. I don't have a hot wire cutter or anything to cut, you know, to make a thin slice that's nice and neat. So I don't mind it being a bit gunky, because most of the painted type stuff were over there with the humidity. Just put some spare plastic card. I always save all the little bits of plastic I do, like on the Black Rover, and I just chuck it in a little pot, and they make handy bits for either redoing stuff on something like the Black Rover, or, you know, doing bases with. Again, this will have that water effect. It's supposed to be like muddy water or something, but I've obviously got to, and these won't be so shiny because they'll be matted over again. Put some dirt on different stages of them. Some have got more, some have got less. I mean, he hasn't got too much. I saw some of the helmets. This isn't the frog leaf one, this is the woodland one, but it's I've dirtied it up because some were quite brown, and all it was just obviously having the tin pots upside down, maybe in the dirt and stuff. They're quite gungy. So that's him, and again, just the tin foil again doing the same thing. This guy. Oh, those two I've just shown you as well. I painted them as Hispanic Americans as best I could. Like, you can't see a lot with the helmets and stuff. I do try and get everybody represented, because everybody took part in the Vietnam War. That's some type of conduit. I just thought, again, it's a spare piece of box section I'd got, so I just stuck some lead wire in, painted it. This is good stuff. It's cork tile, and it's varnished on one side, but when you break it up, it's a bit tough because it's hard wearing cork tile. So I used a Stanley knife, you know, one of the big cutters, to break it up, and that gives you that side. But when it breaks up, it gives you this look of like it's plaster, and you can just paint it as concrete. This is just like a power conduit. It's not supposed to be a metal Rio bar. I did stick a couple of metal Rio bars in some of the other stuff, but this one's just like some type of conduit or pipe. Doesn't have to be anything really. It's whatever your imagination says. I went with a bit more orangey dirt with this. The others I've done more dark brown, but it depends. It's every photograph you see, it's just slightly different in way. Some of the dirt was more like just normal, what I would call normal dark brown. Others, it was more the standard like orangey type that you often see. Again, a couple of like civvy pot tins or cans of some description, spent rounds. I put some, because I didn't drill holes in this, I just literally glued the wire in. I had to put it at angles so it wouldn't get caught too easy. It's just supposed to, you see how it's just supposed to show a bit of Rio wire, and yes, it would be more rusty than that. I did achieve it on some more than others. These are I have done a bit of weathering down, but they're not overly weathered. Maybe I could have done a bit more on that really. I just gave it a different colour on the inside. It was just what I happened to have on the wet palette. And again, just a bit of spare tube there. Well, solid I think it is. And I just put black on just to show it's. But that again, some type of pipe work, slightly rusty. Had a bit of pink even on the salmon pink that I was using on the Lancers that I'm painting for the commission. I just put that down just to show some type of civvy paint. It's not all just bare wood. People would have had window frames and stuff painted, you know, so it all adds to the effect really. So you can't go over the top, you know. That's why I do use a bigger base, because I do enjoy putting a bit of context into you know, what they are. So that's it. I'll put them down here, but I don't know how much we're going to see. Let's go back a bit, Gav. Get the other two in. I've got 3 Marines, and look, can I reach them? I'm just painting MVA at the moment. I just put them on the bench last night. I'm going between a grey, I'm not sure which that one is through the camera. Let's just see the other guy, because it's one of the standing ones. I think he's got the more olive in it slightly. I was going for just trying different tones with them. Because sometimes you see, sometimes it is just a photograph. You've got to be a bit careful with Vietnam photographs, because it was the type of film they were using at the time, you know. So sometimes uniforms can look more greyed out, green, than they probably were. But other times, they you know, when these uniforms get washed a lot, they do go like a, you know, like an off grey green, and that's both sides. Now you can look at some of the MVA, especially in the fall of Saigon and that, when they're all on the T-55s and stuff. A lot of the guys are wearing quite obviously fresh uniforms, and probably the ones that were used, as I say, this fellow that I had a paragraph in that book, he said they'd been issued new uniforms where you can more or less say, you know, they were probably a bit more brighter than those that I've done. But as I say, my MVA, I suppose my MVA will always be on non-building rubble, because there'll be MVA for anything really, from Khe Sanh to you know, the hill fights around Khe Sanh to anywhere the MVA were really. So yeah, I've got 3 more Marines. Now, oh, by the way, Steve Sanford gave me those. Thanks, Steve. And also the 3 Marines that I'm painting, well, will paint at some stage. They've been primered. He gave me those as well. So yeah, but I just thought it was time to get some. Oh, just quickly, I do like how Empress saying they've got Paul Hicks to sculpt these slightly smaller. Let's see a proper standing figure. If you see those, I mean, it's a bit hard, I know, because obviously they're not, but you can just see the bulk as well. The Vietnamese proportionally, on the whole, were a lot smaller than the Americans, and they've done that. I mean, you see Arvin, you know, the South Vietnamese army. Most of the uniforms were made in country or made by Korea. The Koreans did very well out of making uniforms and stuff. But I believe a lot for the Vietnamese was made. That's because their trousers are a lot tighter and stuff, and the jackets and shirts and stuff. But the steel pots were just obviously surplus American steel pots, so as in the helmets. So they look like little kids wearing them, because the helmets are like massive, you know, compared to the only person. The only American I've seen that could fill one of those helmets out and make it look small was Lieutenant Colonel Ernie Cheatham. Big Ernie, as the Marines called him in his unit. He was an ex-American professional football player, and you see, if you ever put Hue in, and you know, like video from Hue, and you'll see interviews that there's an interview on there. He's, you know, the fighting's going on all around him, and they've buttonholed him for an interview, and his helmet does look like it's like miles too small for him. He was just a towering giant of a bloke. But yeah, so the Vietnamese are a lot smaller. You know, American weapons again. were slightly, you know, like the M1 Garant that they used to begin with. You know, was they preferred the M1 carbine because it was at least, you know, their scale. I mean, they used the 30 cal machine gun, and I mean that was better. And when they got the M60, you see some of their guys standing and firing from the hip, the M60s, or even putting it to the shoulders like the Marines did. And I'm surprised they didn't end up in like 4 streets away, you know, trying to heft it. So I'm glad that they have made the figures slender and smaller, because they were. That was good to see. Just thought I'd say that. That was all just coming to my mind. So look after yourselves. Thanks for stopping by and taking a look. Coming up, I've got, I'll probably show you the first 6 painted Lancers, if I can pull my finger out and get the faces painted, because the first 6 will be done then. They're in 18mm, that's the commission I'm doing. I'll obviously have those MVA up at some stage. Black Rover's coming along nicely. I've done a fair bit more to her, but it's not worth it, not enough to worth putting a video up to bore you with, you know, until you've seen a bit more progress on her. At some stage I've got to show the 15mm Comet. Nowhere near finished, but it's. I actually thought I might just when I've finally weathered and done everything I want to do to that 15mm Comet, I'll do a video on that, and then another one when it's on a little base. I'm just going to plonk it on the base rather than stick it down, but I'll make a little base for that. I've got an idea I want to do for that. What else have we got? The Ferrets isn't really any mark farther forward, but it should be this weekend, because I want to afternoon and evening sticking all the bits I can stick together on that, and get the rest primered, ready for some paint. And there was a couple of other things that have totally left me now. You've seen the progress on the 1/16 Dragon figure. He's no more forward. Although I did do the mangled, well, I've painted out the mangled swastika, and I'm going to do a slightly bit better job on that, because when I looked at it through the lens, it just looked like I had just put a blob of black paint there. There is something else. Oh, I've got some more 2mm Ancients. They're waiting to. I've had to get some bases for the client's commission, and while I was there, I ordered some more 2mm Ancients, which I'm using as Ancient Britons. So that'll be something in the future though. So yeah, I'm rambling because there was a couple of other things I wanted to say or talk about up and coming, and it's completely left me. So look after yourselves. Thanks for stopping by. I do need to make some terrain for these for Hue, just because I'd like to place some of the figures on even if it's just a photo shoot base, if that makes sense. I mean, yes, they're on their own bases and all that, but just to do a Hue photo thing that you can put the figures on. So, but again, I've got so much I'm juggling at the moment. It's not something that I need to do straight away, really. So that's it. Look after yourselves, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.